Now, Celeb Secrets is here hanging out with banners, and you just dropped a project which is super, super exciting, and it has a very interesting title and a very interesting angle. So could you go ahead and reveal a little bit about the meaning behind that?
It doesn't particularly roll off the tongue, but it's called I Wish I Was Flawless, I'm Not, which is just a lyric from one of the songs that's on there. It felt like it just summed up where I was up to at the moment. Well, at the time, really. A lot of the songs, it's sort of the last bunch of songs that I had that I wrote during the pandemic. I did the pandemic on my own, like loads of people did. I think everybody had their own mad stuff, but my mad thing was just doing it on my own, and I think your brain goes a bit crazy. I just got a bit obsessed with my appearance and just hating what I look like and stuff. So that was just a bit of a lyric that reflected that a bit, I think. That feeling of needing to feel like you look perfect. Because I guess everybody else, you're only seeing people on Instagram and on Zoom or whatever, everyone else just looks so perfect and brilliant, and you're just left with your own self in the mirror, you know?
Now, I know you touched on it a little bit, but if you had to pick just an overall message or an overall meaning behind the EP, what would it be?
That one sums it up a little bit. In that's from a song called Perfectly Broken, and the idea is that actually nobody is perfect, and it's actually the imperfections that make us interesting, isn't it? And that make us fit perfectly with other people. It's also subjective, isn't it? Perfection, it doesn't really exist.
Now, I listened to the EP and it is very vulnerable, very raw, and you can tell that it's just very, very real and coming from a very genuine place. How do you kind of channel that vulnerability and that ability to be open in your music?
It's hard really, because it's easy to second guess yourself because you are ultimately trying to make music for other people. Like, that's the entire point, isn't it? So it is quite easy to second guess things. But I think, and especially when you're first starting out, because you don't really know who you are to anybody yet, and you don't know how to be, how to make something that matters. But like I say, the longer that I do it, the more that I realize, it was the times that I wrote something that mattered to me. They're the ones that really connected. It's like when it matters to you, you like sew into its DNA that fact that it's a thing that really means something, and somehow when people listen to it, they can just hear it. I think humans have an amazing ability to discern when something's real and when it isn't. We're really good. We sort of born understanding music in a really weird way, That's my theory on it. I have to write an essay on it one day.
Now, since you were writing in the pandemic, I'm sure you wrote tons and tons and tons of songs. So how did you kind of decide which 6 in particular were going to go on to the EP?
It was crazy for songwriting because all of a sudden everybody was free all of the time, and you could write with anybody really anywhere in the world. So I had a lot of songwriting. I had my record label set up, loads of songwriting sessions, so I was doing a lot of them really. So it does get a little hard because you end up with like 100 songs to choose from. So I think you have to just go with the ones that, when you listen to them again, just move you in some way, even though there are others that might seem poppier or hookier or something like that. I think as long as you say, well, does it move me or not? Because I think if they don't move you, then they're not going to move anybody else. And if they do move you, well, maybe there's a chance that they'll, matter to someone else. So it was just that, really.
Now, if you had to pick out of the 6 tracks on the EP, is there one that really sticks out to you as being super, super meaningful?
There's one on there that's called In Your Universe, which was it was the first session that I did on Zoom during the pandemic that really worked out, because before then, I'm sure this is true of loads and loads of industries, but it was so sudden, really, wasn't it? And all of a sudden there was this question mark of, is this industry going to survive? From a songwriting perspective, so many people do it together in a room. So being faced with this complete uncertainty of whether this could continue to be a job for so many people. The song In Your Universe that I have was the first session that really made a good song, basically. So that one, I'm really proud of the song. I really love it. But also it was like, okay, this is possible for me. This is hope for the future, I suppose. So it's really important to me, that one.
Now, you've talked a lot about how your songwriting process is very collaborative. How would you say that other songwriters and other people really contribute to your creative process in particular?
I feel really grateful to get to work with really, really good people now, and people that are my friends too. You know, once you found your people and you stick with it and everyone knows what things are sounding like now, I don't really have any ego with it. And if someone's had a good idea, God, just let them go with it. It's really tricky at first. Songwriting sessions are weird because you are effectively, it's like reading a diary, like a personal diary out to a stranger that you've only just met, you know, because at some point it's like, okay, well, here is this quite personal thing that I've been thinking about. So you have to allow yourself to be vulnerable very quickly. And when you first start out, you sort of assume that people are going to laugh at you for saying this, but no one really does. They just want to be involved in writing a good song. But it has to be such a collective process. Everybody has to feel welcome and part of it, you know, and then that's where you get the best stuff.
Now, with the new EP aside, 2023 is just beginning. So do you have any big goals for the new year?
So many of my friends are so creative and awesome, amazing, like bands, musicians. My sister is an amazing artist. Some of my friends are amazing videographers and stuff. So my main thing now is to bring everybody along with me. I just want to write as many songs as I can with my friends, because some of my friends are in such great bands. They just never got their little break yet. So if I can help in some way with that, or just develop people's careers as songwriters or filmmakers or anything, and we can make it a big collective, that's just what I want to do. So I'm going on tour in a month's time, and everybody on the stage with me are my best friends from the UK. And it's just a great thing.
Now, since that tour is going to be with all of your best friends, I'm sure that that's going to be so much fun. What can fans expect to see at one of these shows?
I think just me having a really nice time, to be honest. I signed to Island Records, but I'd never played a show. I'd never played a gig once before I signed to them, so I had to learn how to do that. It's a really quite steep learning curve, really. Like I say, now I feel in a bit of a position to curate things for myself, really, and just make it all a bit easier and do this with people that I really love. So I think if nothing else, you know, I'm really proud of the songs, and I think the live shows are really good. But it's also a bunch of people that just really like being on stage together, and I really hope that comes out. I think it will.
Absolutely. And if you're having fun on stage, then everyone's bound to have fun.
Yeah, exactly. I always think it's a little bit like when you're watching a band, if they just seem relaxed. You know, it's a bit like a pilot, isn't it? If you're on a plane and the pilot is clearly relaxed, you're feeling good about it. If you hear a pilot slightly panicking, don't want to be involved with that plane.
Now, lastly, we are Celeb Secrets. So do you have any secrets about either yourself or your music that fans wouldn't expect?
So I used to do as many jobs which were relatively short term, so I could, if music things came up, then I could do them. So I spent quite a lot of time on I signed up to like an extras, you know, like what's it called, like an extras agency, you know, in like movies and TV shows and stuff. So I'm in quite a few Hollywood movies that were made over quite a short period of time. I was in a Steven Spielberg movie called War Horse, which is like a First World War one, and then I was in a Bryan Singer one called, I think it got called Jack the Giant Slayer, and then I was in the third Batman movie, the third Christopher Nolan Batman movie. So I'm quietly in the background of quite a few quite big Hollywood movies that were made over about a 6-month period there. I captured Benedict Cumberbatch off a horse, and I'm slow dancing behind Christian Bale at one point, and then I'm just like a soldier in a castle while it's being attacked by a great big troll. So yeah.